And we wrap up night 2 of the 2022 NFL Draft with the best nightcap out there, Bucky Brooks from NFL Network. Bucky, it's good to see you, man. I appreciate you carving out a few minutes for us on what is an incredibly busy, hectic time of year for you. But let's just start here. The Raiders finally make a pick at number 90 overall. They take guard Dylan Parham out of Memphis. We were talking before we started rolling. You like his versatility. You like the fact that he's just a good quality guy who can play on the inside. What do we need to know about the newest member of the Silver and Black?
Well, one thing that you can really feel good about with Dylan Parham is he's a guy who's tough, he's scrappy, he's very experienced, and he's versatile. He's played multiple positions along that front line. You know, the versatility is a huge calling card with Josh McDaniels and company. They love to have guys that are versatile, that are able to kind of move and do a bunch of different things because it gives you the flexibility to put the best five on the field. And so with Parham, because he's played guard, because he's played tackle, because he has the ability to bounce around, it allows you to kind of experiment and reshape the offensive line to put the best five on the field. And from a playing standpoint, man, this dude loves to play in the phone booth. He can go nose to nose with people. He's scrappy. He's going to battle. And look, even though he's not necessarily the most athletic player, he has some grit and some scrappiness to him that will allow him to kind of overcome some of those physical deficiencies.
You know, one thing that I found really interesting, Bucky, and you and I have talked about it a little bit over the past couple of weeks, is it feels like each milestone or each kind of line in the sand on the NFL calendar, we're going to learn a little bit more about Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels. And since they both got here in January, they have both preached the importance of versatility. Well, you look at this first pick now, and he is about as versatile as it comes. So to me, I look at this first pick, and obviously we'll have to see what Dylan does throughout his career as a Raider. But to me, I just look at the tandem of Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler, and I say, this is a group of guys that are kind of putting their money where their mouth is, so to say, or so to speak. Like they're practicing very much what they're preaching in 2022.
Yeah, the most important relationship in the building right now is between the head coach and the general manager. The head coach normally thinks of the here and now. How is the team today? How can I get them better tomorrow so that we can go and win a game at the end of the week? The general manager's job is to make sure that he has a long-term vision for how the team plays and that all the moves that are made are not only to have the team competitive for this year, but to continue to keep the team competitive. And so when you hear Ziegler and McDaniels talk about versatility, what they're trying to do is build a team that really can morph and change based on any situation. So whether it's injuries or whether it's just the adaptability to put the best 5 or 11 players on each side of the ball on the field, it gives you a chance to enhance your odds of winning because you have guys that are adaptable, guys that are versatile, guys that can do multiple things. And as you know, because you've been around the business long enough, the more you can do, the more value you bring to the team, and that's what they're trying to find.
You know, and there's just a very practical kind of nature to it as well. We were talking to Dylan earlier tonight, and I asked him kind of, you know, the importance of that versatility and why why that's kind of a bit of a calling card for him. And he goes, look, when I look to the next level, he goes, there's only a certain amount of guys that are active on game day. So if you're looking at, hey, do I want to play? Do I want to be up as a rookie? Do I want to be a guy that contributes? You got to be one of those guys that can do a lot of different things and can fill a lot of those different roles, right?
Yeah, no, that's a huge part of it. And one of the things that I didn't mention when I talked about Dylan, I didn't talk about the high IQ, but I think what you have heard and gathered from your time in talking to him, very cerebral player, very heady guy, a guy who is very smart and understands the nuances of the game. And for him to have enough awareness to know, for me to get a jersey on game day, we may only suit up 8, maybe 9 guys. I probably can enhance my odds by being able to play center, guard, tackle, by being able to do multiple things. So there's a 2-for-1 thing when it comes to keeping me up, as opposed to maybe keeping some of the other players that you would consider keeping up on game day.
Yeah, and to your point, just a young man that seems to have a really good head on his shoulders, to see a guy who seems to understand kind of the bigger picture. And yes, I'm going to the NFL, and yes, this is an incredible new adventure that I'm starting on, but it's going to be an adventure. It is going to be a journey. He's not looking at this as like a 6-month type plan. And I think that it's refreshing to see a young guy come out to be selected where he's selected and say, look, I know that I have things that I do well, but I also understand that there's a lot for me to get better at. And if I want to contribute to this team, I'm going to have to continually be a work in progress, get better and better and better throughout the offseason and frankly, throughout my entire career.
Yeah, no, that's the thing, because when you step into the Raiders now under McDaniels and Ziegler, it's a work hard program. A lot of hours, a lot of work, a lot of repetition. And the only way that you're going to be able to survive in that kind of environment is you have to be committed to the grind. And so when you hear him talk about being ready, being able to do all these things, being able to have multiple skill sets to enhance his opportunities, you already know he's the right kind of guy. And when you couple him being the right kind of guy in terms of just mentally, emotionally, from a character standpoint, then you bring the football part of it. Then you feel good about the draft pick because you feel he's not even going to just come in and survive, but he's going to be able to thrive in this kind of element.
Yeah, and that's really the hope in general, Bucky. But you look at, we're now 2 days into this draft, day 2 and officially in the books, and it has been a draft that has not been short on intrigue across the board, right? The silver and black with only this one pick earlier this evening. But when you look at the totality of the draft, Bucky, over the past, call it 48 hours, whatever it's been, has there been anything that's really surprised you over what you've seen thus far through 3 rounds?
I think the one thing that stands out to me now more than ever is this is a passing league. If you look at the way the picks have been flying off the board, everybody coming off the board, particularly early, had some kind of impact on the passing game. And so we didn't see many passes. We only saw one quarterback, but we saw plenty of pass rushers. We saw a bunch of playmakers and pass catchers at the wide receiver position. And then we saw guys that could protect the passer and all those offensive tackles. And so it's a league where you have to be able to make sure that on offense, your quarterback is protected and he has enough weapons around him to do what he does very well. And then on defense, it's about being able to get after the passer, and it's about being able to cover the playmakers on the perimeter. You have those 4 key ingredients, you have an opportunity to build a championship squad.
Yeah, and obviously the Raiders are hoping to turn themselves into a championship squad in 2022, coming off a very solid year in 2021. But, Bucky, no one's going to remember 2021 in about 2 days, right? We're looking ahead to 2022, and we're looking ahead now to day 3 of the NFL draft. The Silver and Black have 5 picks now after trading back. So they're going to go, 126, 164, 165, 169, and then finish it up in the 7th round with 227. So, Bucky, I know it's so hard to prognosticate what's going to happen in this final day of the draft, but there's still a lot of quality players to be had on day 3. Am I right?
Yeah, no, there's plenty of quality, but I think what everyone should understand when you're picking in the 4th round or lower, what you're looking for now are developmental prospects. And so the conversations that you'll hear about these guys in the post-draft presser will be, hey, man, we really like this guy. This was his blue chip trait. This was his superpower. And so it's being able to identify maybe you identify the defensive tackle that is great versus the run, but just mediocre against the pass. It is the bump and run corner who excels the bump and run, but doesn't have the footwork to play off or play in zone, so he's limited. It is the running back that maybe can grind it out on short yardage and goal line, but in the field and on 3rd down, he offers you little as a receiver. So it's important that when the Raiders are assessing the class and who's remaining, that they make sure they get guys that I would say have clean backgrounds, so you don't have to untrain a bunch of bad habits. You now have guys that are able to kind of come in and jump in and make contributions.
And if you look historically, Bucky, too, I would say, especially over the past couple of years, having these kind of cards at your disposal, having these darts to throw at the board, if you will, typically ends up well, where you want to have more chances at hitting, because to your point, if you're drafting in the 4th round, if you're looking at the 3rd day of the draft, not a lot of quote unquote proven commodities out there that are going to step in day 1. I mean, there's not a lot of Max Crosby's and Hunter Renfro's to be found. They're there, but they're the exception rather than the rule.
Yeah, no, they are the exception to the rule. And so it's one of the things that you have to look at, whether you're in college or in pro. You got to look at, how can I get the right guys? I got to get the right guys. I have to give myself a chance to win by having guys that are as invested in the program as I am in the program and in them. And so you try and challenge those guys to kind of show their heads by making things very, very difficult. And so as we continue to get down the process and as we continue to look at the team, it always goes back to the team and making sure that everyone understands to prioritize things the right way. And if they do that and they prepare, they have an opportunity to be a really good team.
Yeah, and that's, like I said, the hope for your 2022 Las Vegas Raiders, that this is a good team that goes to a very, very good team in just a few months. Well, Buck, we appreciate you hanging out late with us. I know it's been an incredibly busy few days for you and everyone at the network. It's good to see you, and I assume you're going to have some great stuff coming on Raiders.com soon. So when that does come, we'll be sure to make it and blast it out to the masses, because, as we say, every time we talk to you, we get smarter, and at the end of the day, that's always the goal. So it's good to see you, my friend, and we'll talk soon, all right?
Hey, thanks so much for having me on.